Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick Spry.
Hey.
Hey, Nick Spry. Hey, Angela.
Hello.
Hey, Man Daddy.
Hi.
How you guys doing? We're out here out front of the fort, as it were.
Nice day.
We're just kind of. It's hot and overcast. It's one of those Florida quote unquote nice days. It's gonna rain at some point, but
it's muggy.
We're encountering a weird gate here at the front of the fort. I'm not really sure what this is. It's actually seems to be ancient in origin. It's some type of castle wall, or there's like parapets, and this is like a whole. Are we on a different side of it? Did we come from the left?
This is where we normally go in.
It's
definitely.
Does he not want us in anymore?
I don't know, but it's like unusually short. It's like up to about like your knees. It's like
we could
just
climb over it.
We step right
Absolutely
over this.
I don't want. It seems
like
symbolic in sort of its like boundary nature. I don't want to like walk over this.
A doll's gate.
Do we call? Let's just call out to him. Let's say like,
just yell his damn name. I mean,
Fritz.
Fritz!
Are you? We're here. We're ready. It's time.
Fritz!
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 No.
Damn it!
All right, let's just hop over.
I say we knock it over. Actually, to make a point.
That's not cool.
Yeah, well, look, it's got a little latch. We'll just
kick
undo
it.
with
Just
my
kick
pinky
it.
here.
Nope, kick it.
Okay. Whoop, Angela just kicked it
Ah!
right off the hinges.
Oh, that was
Yes.
nice.
All right.
That felt good.
Maybe
wreck my
this
toe.
is the front yard. It looks pretty normal, I guess, other than the fact that we had to kick over a tiny little baby wall.
Hark! Harkin! Hark!
What the fuck?
Hark.
I thought he had crows.
Fritz?
Do you guys hear this?
Yes?
What?
Harkin!
What?
Who?
Stephen W.H. Whatever, huh?
Who there attempts to trespass before me, notary public of kingdom, and me?
What's happening?
I don't know anymore.
Fritz, dude, we came for the podcast.
What's he wearing? Are you wearing a ruff? Like this huge
Looks
like collar.
burlappy.
Like, what are you doing?
Jacobian ruff?
Big old like puffy shoulder.
Where did you get that?
Looks like a jester.
Is that a horse
What
leather
is the
codpiece?
sigil?
What?
What is that?
Come on.
As
He has a
notary
sigil?
public of realm of King Fritz von Fritz, I answer to no one other
He
than
has
King
crowned himself.
Fritz von Fritz.
Well, I guess it was only a matter of time until this fucking shit happened.
I don't remember
State
a coronation.
your cause and state your name, plebes.
Fritz, he's like looking over to the right. We're over to your left. Hey,
We're
bud.
over here.
Bud, over here.
Hey.
Why
over
is
here.
it
Hey,
a
hey,
squinty
buddy.
face?
I see you.
All right. Yeah. Your
State
eyes
your
are
name,
completely
plebes.
I'm Kaz.
Man,
We
Daddy.
got co-host Man Daddy.
Over here.
Okay. Yeah.
What the hell is that all about?
I'm Lady Angela.
Oh, Lady Angela, your
Yes.
reputation speaks for you.
Of course. Can I go in?
Yes, of course.
Wait, are
Thank
you used to
you.
this? Has he
Yep.
done this in the past?
Just play the game,
Oh,
motherfucker.
God damn it.
Nick Spry, I don't have an invitation, but I would love to sell you a bridge.
Silence.
Oh my god.
On behalf of Notary Public of the King Fritz von Fritz realm, I state on behalf of the Notary Public of the realm of King Fritz von Fritz as a Notary Public of the realm of King Fritz von Fritz. State
This is really good,
Oh,
babe.
man, I'm getting tired of
my
standing
God.
up
Notary
listening to this.
Public.
You know when you say a word so many times it doesn't make sense anymore?
Yeah,
The word
totally.
Fritz has just hit that
Yeah,
level.
makes sense.
von Fritz
It's just a
enter.
series of in front of
Oh,
you.
hey.
You may
We all
enter.
What?
go. Let's go now before he changes his
Closing in
mind.
3,
Damn.
2, 1.
Hey,
This is like a throne room or some type of cool ass like.
This guy could really pull off some home remodeling in an
Is he gonna
entire
follow
week.
us?
He ran. No,
Where'd
he
he go?
went.
No, I
he
hear he's
scampered
like-
off.
he's
It's like a
running-
hallway.
he
I
was
can
scared.
see
What is
him
he
through
doing?
the
I don't
window
know.
outside.
He
He's
ran-
like
Grabbing a bunch of shit.
naked.
He's putting
Yeah.
stuff on him.
What's he
Oh,
doing?
God.
No, it's kind of
Inside.
creeping me out.
Whoa. What do you got there? What
Nice costume change there, Junior.
is that?
He has a skull for some reason. I don't like that.
This is very regal.
Is it
Yeah,
Steve?
that looks like a real skull too.
I am king of this stately realm of King Fritz von Fritz. You may call me King Fritz.
King Fritz, what are
Didn't
you
see that
holding
coming.
there?
King Fritz,
What's going
huh?
on?
This got.
I'm holding my best friend's skull in my arm. I would rather you not mention it.
Best
You shouldn't have brought it up.
friend.
Oh, no.
It's definitely Yorick, right?
King Fritz.
Did you know him?
What's going on? I thought we were supposed to have a game of badminton today and just drink some canned wine and maybe go to the chicken little joint later. What's
Yeah.
going on? Like,
Canned wine's
what's
cooling
with all
down.
This, like medieval cosplay you're doing here.
As I'm sure you are wondering why in my steed you shall be. I, as King Fritz, will tell you a story most foul indeed.
Okay.
Oh.
I was looking at land records. Georgia to Florida, eh? And I realize this kingdom, it stretches for 1,000,000 miles away.
What?
Mainly up to the Carolinas.
Is that, okay. That seems a little ambitious.
So I called you forth to confront me, the king, to say, would you do this thing, a bidding for me, the king?
You didn't call us or summon us. We always show up.
We
This is
just
a normal
come
day.
here.
That's what we
What's
do.
the
live
ask
here.
here?
Are we talking a road trip?
Yes.
Where?
Oh.
I mentioned the Carolinas. I don't know. Okay,
Okay.
here's the thing. I found old documentations. I think it means that this property extends a long ways away.
Oh.
Like one strip
to
up
the
the East
Carolinas?
Coast?
Like all of Florida, I mean, most of Florida into Georgia and more?
Again, I don't really know. I just think that, our kingdom could multiply several times over. Saith I, the king.
So, like, if someone took a map and
Again,
just, like, drew,
Angela,
like, a...
Jesus
okay.
Christ.
All right, I'm just
I
trying to
don't
get
know.
the...
I don't
All
know.
right.
Didn't really get this imperialist feel from you earlier on in the season.
Also, there's
yeah.
only like 5 of us. If we're gonna be like doing some manifest Fritzany over here and trying to push our borders, we're gonna need some more manpower.
a lot more.
To your manpower question, I say with a thought, I think that's the best thought that ever was thought.
This guy's good.
Agreed.
Wow, okay.
Well, I am flattered, but that still leaves a little bit of logistics to be filled in that hole there.
Logistics as a word I do not understand, methinks.
Shocker.
Smart guy
Okay.
thinking.
Yeah, I don't know that
Okay,
one.
well,
Definitely, I don't know that
Obviously.
one. I'm sorry.
Well, if you really want to expand these borders, Fritz,
Mhm.
how do you intend to go about doing that?
Oh, that's a great question, and one that I'm glad you asked. If anyone ever goes toe-to-toe with me, I'll make sure in their eyes they cannot see.
You gonna blind people or blow
I've done
sand
it-
in their eyes?
I've done it before, I'll do it again.
All right.
What?
That sounds pretty dastardly. Are you?
He's holding that skull. Is that a real skull?
It's totally a real skull.
I'm getting mildly
Don't
freaked
put your
out. Just a little
fingers
bit.
in it like
I know,
that.
he's kind of tooling it around in a weird way.
That is weird.
It's
It does kind of look funny.
funny.
Looks like
It
it's
looks
still
a
got
little
some
funny.
meat on it.
kind of funny though, right?
Guys, no, I'm freaking
It's
out a little
kinda
bit.
funny,
That's
but not funny.
That's not
Thank you.
cool. That's definitely, disrespectful to whoever's skull that was, because that
Yeah,
looks
Rick.
like a real skull.
Whose skull is that?
Yorick.
It was my best friend.
Oh God.
Dead now, unfortunately.
Obviously.
I'd hope so. If he wasn't, that'd be really weird.
I don't know, I still get to play with him.
Guys, I don't know.
Toss it around
I got
like
a bad
that.
feeling about this, and not in the sort of freaked out feeling, like the sort of this is just a really bad idea. Guys, have you ever heard of Ivan the Terrible?
Yes.
He was
No, of course not.
I didn't
Remember
like
the
that
Foot
giggle.
Clan, like Ninja Turtles. He did fought the Ninja Turtles.
Shredder.
I knew one guy named Ivan.
Was he cool?
Or was he terrible?
He was all right.
Well, yeah.
Ivan the Eye.
He was
Ivan the
kinda
Eye.
hot.
Ivan the
I
Alright.
don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Ivan the Eye.
Ivan the
I went to
okay.
high school with him. He was kind of hot. I don't know.
Ivan the Terrible, as we know him in these days, or Ivan Vasilievich IV, was known commonly as Ivan the Terrible to the rest of the Western world. Also referred to by Russians as Ivan Grozny. Grozny meaning terrible, but terrible not in the sense of like, that dude is terrible at shuffleboard. Like,
Right.
in the sense that this dude is awesome, awe-inspiring, or intimidating, formidable. He
Okay.
is
Like Ivan the Bad.
Ivan the Badass.
Yeah.
Like, so Ivan Vasilievich IV was born in 1530. So this is just barely after Rus, as Russia was formerly known, was let go of control by the Tatars, who are the descendants of the Mongols. Genghis Khan being the only successful ruler to ever successfully conquer and invade Russia.
I did not know that.
Ooh.
I like
Sure,
how you use the
Don't know
Genghis, not the
that.
Genghis.
It's
Even though my
Genghis.
cat's name is
Genghis.
Genghis, but it is Genghis.
It is.
With Russian culture, they had the patronymics. His name was Ivan. The last name Vasilievich means son of Vasil.
Oh, nice.
Yes, that's how they did it. Well, I don't know why.
Poetic.
But so his father was actually murdered when Ivan was only 3 years old.
Oh,
and
whoa.
this forces this young child at the age of 3 to be the Muscovy, the great prince.
At 3?
Yes.
That won't
3?
twist it all.
So you have to think at
Jeez.
this time that this is basically during the Renaissance era in Western Europe. Russia, however, due to their language and due to geographic divides, was still basically in the Dark Ages, in medieval era sort of technologies and such. The territories were broken up into principalities, and each of these were governed by a prince. Moscow, or Muskov, was considered the greatest of all of these, and so the Great Prince of Muskov was considered to be the general ruler, but there was not a Tsar until Ivan the Terrible. So at the age of 3, he was crowned the Great Prince of Muskov.
Like the entire area.
Of the Principality of
Moscow.
Moscow. And at this time, at the age of 3, his mother, the queen, tried to act as regent, and there is many, many bitter battles between the boyars, or the aristocracy, and directly their family. So she had many of his uncles and his direct family members executed or locked up in jail.
Jesus Christ, as a 3-year-old kid?
As a 3-year-old kid,
Wow!
she is trying to protect him to make sure that this child is not murdered in order to steal his throne.
Common theme in like early monarchy is that like being shocked that like at 3 he was the prince. It's like that. No, they were all little kids that had their parents killed and shit. Like it was terrible assassination plots constantly.
I'm not shocked at that. I'm just shocked that like that could have been like one of those Fox specials when young monarchs kill. It's like this 3-year-old going, "Fuck you, Dad."
No, it's basically like that kid that's on that viral video everybody's been watching where they gets in a fight with that dude. That's basically him. That's basically it. That that video. That'll make you mad.
So imagine the opposite of that, where basically people are trying to abuse this 3-year-old kid and perhaps murder him in order to get his power. So this
They're really easy to kill.
This goes on for 5 years. The queen tries to protect him, and
So that would be infanticide and what's
Regicide.
regicide.
Well,
yes.
he's not the king
Well,
yet,
he's
right?
not princesside.
Kind of, yeah.
Princesside. So this goes on for 5 years, and then when Ivan is 8 years old, his mother dies.
Oopsies.
Fuck.
Many suspect it was due to poisoning. So this only compounds his fear and paranoia of murder and basically subterfuge against his power. And it is also during this time that he is basically abused. He's neglected. He is starved. He is locked away for many hours while warring factions try to take hold of the seat of power. And it is also noted that during this time that he starts to develop certain sociopathic tendencies. There are many apocryphal tales of young Ivan capturing animals.
I saw that coming. That was
Taking them
I
to
saw that coming the door, man.
the top of the Kremlin, which is the royal palace, and throwing them off the side to watch them die.
That's horrible.
He is known quite frequently to torture animals and takes great joy in it.
That's the number one psycho trait right there, man.
Yep.
But was this before Sir Isaac Newton?
Are you serious?
Maybe
He was
he didn't know
he was
gravity.
like a renegade scientist, maybe? You're just testing theories?
I'm just testing gravity on
The
these
squirrel,
lives.
it fell, but maybe the chicken won't.
But mother, I thought it was a cat balloon.
No, it's a fish. I mean, a fish.
It's a fish balloon. So, basically, this child is infused with terror. A few years pass, 5 more years. At the age of 13, Ivan starts to come into his own, starts to realize what power he actually has. He calls a meeting of all of the boyars, the aristocracy, their council, calls them for a Christmas feast. One in particular who opposes him, Andrei Shuisky. He calls out for his, perhaps underhanded, behind the back, trying to seize some power, drags him outside, throws him to his private slew of dogs, and has the man ripped apart
my
and
God.
savaged.
Whoa.
Yes, at the age of 13, he commands this to happen. And this just leads only to a years and years, perhaps 40 years, of a penchant for torture and destruction. By the time he is 17, he then has his own coronation performed, where he declares himself the Tsar of Russia. And Tsar is just a diminutive of the Latin form of Caesar. So he declares himself the emperor of all
No
of Russia.
shit, I didn't know that.
Ivan the Terrible was considered the very first Tsar of Russia. And
And this was the 16th century?
this is the 16th century. So this is around 1546 or so, 1547. And by emperor, I mean he has direct power from God and God alone to rule this country and do as he sees fit with it.
That sounds shockingly similar to some people I know.
Shockingly Russian.
Well, actually, Russian is kind of appropriate.
Ah!
I don't get it.
Early enough in his reign as emperor, oddly, Ivan was quite a progressive and some would say a good man. This is due in particular to his marriage of his first wife, Anastasia Romanovna. He was very much in love with this woman.
This sounds hot, doesn't it?
Yes, it does sound.
Romanovna.
But the way that he picked her, maybe not so hot. He had a contest of virgins and had them paraded in front of his court.
Oh, no.
Who's the most virgin of you?
That was such a great left turn. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Contest.
He had these women paraded in front of him, and he selected her. But
Run, Anastasia.
it
Run.
is considered that they loved each other very much, and they had a
Oh.
very
Alright.
strong love. And she
That's
produced
nice.
4 children for him.
Produced.
Unfortunately,
I like the
Produced.
term.
well, she bore 4 children for him.
Bore is even worse.
Well, that's more appropriate.
Out of the 8 children he had with his 6 wives, the 2 sons that Anastasia
wives.
lived the longest.
Oh, wow.
6 of them died very early on. We're talking 3,
16th
4
century
years
Russia,
or less.
yeah, I mean,
yes.
yeah, whatever the
So
fuck.
most of the children died. His 2 sons lived to be the oldest that were produced by Anastasia. When Anastasia unfortunately died in 1560, Ivan was 30 years old. It destroyed him. His first wife, whom he loved dearly, Anastasia, passed away, and he suspected poisoning. Just like his mother.
mom.
Oh, that'll get you a little twisted.
So it's at this time he loses it.
Goes full
And-
Joffrey.
Yep, goes all
mommy
all
shit.
rules go out the window. He starts torturing to no end, and yet it's odd because he was a strictly and deeply Christian Orthodox man. He was known for building these great cathedrals.
At
all over the
what
place.
point has Christianity divorced itself from torture or depravity?
If you're
Let's have
thinking
the
16th
discussion.
century at the same time, or roughly around that era, it's the Spanish Inquisition. You know, it's
Exactly.
he's doing the same sort of things. He is literally flaying people, boiling people.
He's
Yikes.
Ramsey. He's like
There-
an early Ramsey. He's
there
got the
is-
dogs. He's got the
Creepy as
flame.
hell.
There is a tale, and this comes up around the same time. So at the death of his wife in 1560, he actually gives up his power at one point and leaves in 1564. And the aristocracy fucks things up so badly that they beg him to come back.
Wow. You know that psychotic little fucker? We need that guy back in here. He got stuff
Weird.
done.
Too many dudes are walking
Okay.
around. We got too many dogs. There's no one knows how to handle this situation except for
Someone
Ivan
get
the
these
Terrible.
dogs eating some people right about now.
He can definitely track money. He makes a hell of a blueberry muffin. Let's get him back.
Ivan departed Moscow for Alexandra Sloboda, and he announces his abdication. The boyar court is unable to rule, so they beg him to come back, and he goes, okay, but you have to let me rule with absolute dictatorship. I have to be allowed to do whatever I want, and it is in this point they agree. They give up
What could go
all
wrong?
of their rights, and most historians agree that Russia during this period thrives under dictatorship. The period after Ivan the Terrible died is known as the time of turmoil. So under him, they feel like, well, he held things together at least.
What?
So this leads to the creation of the
terrifies me, man.
Oprichnina. Oprichnina refers to basically a small region of where, of course, the wealthiest populated, that Ivan had absolute control over. The rest of it was allowed to be controlled by the boyars, but Ivan had the Oprichnina. And the Oprichnina came in conjunction with the creation of the Oprichniki. The Oprichniki were basically, some would say, a version of the KGB.
Yeah,
a
like a
secret
secret
guard.
police.
Wow.
These men
Okay.
dressed all in black. They wore black cloaks, and their emblem was a dog's head with a broom. The dogs would hunt you down. The brooms would clean out the scourge inhabiting the country.
You gotta love branding. Even back then, branding was really
Didn't they,
important.
Dog witches.
They were personally selected by Ivan. They were criminals. They were murderers. They were the ruthless men of this country, and yet he considered them to be his quote-unquote monks.
Didn't they ride around with dogs' heads on their saddles
Yes, they
to
did.
show people that they were part of this group?
Yes, they did.
They're like, what's the most inviting color? Light blue, light pink? No, fuck that. We're going to do black. And
Brindle
instead of-
Pitbull head. Is the
Instead of
most
throwing out
inviting
chocolates, we're just going to show them severed dog heads.
So in 1566, the Oprichnina was extended to 8 central districts. Of 12,000 nobles, I'm quoting Wikipedia here, 570 became Oprichniks, and the rest were expelled, persecuted, or executed.
Whoa, wow.
Oh.
That was a few people.
And when I say persecuted and executed, Ivan himself took personal pleasure in this, but all because of, it had been bestowed by God into
Of course.
his power to
Of course.
do so. He had a private torture chamber.
Hadn't he had selected these people to be able to, they had a license to kill, basically. They were allowed to execute based on their own whim as they were kind of riding through these towns with their dog head, like...
They all were double O's. They had license to kill. They're all double O's.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, double O means license to kill.
Jesus Christ. This whole
Broccoli
time.
family. Points.
There you go. So this all comes about 10 years after what Ivan had done was the expansion of Russia by defeating the Tatars in the city of Kazan. So this is on the eastern border of Russia, which gives them access to the Volga River. He eventually annexed Astrakhan there too. So almost Russia was landlocked except for the north, which in the winter would freeze, screwing over the Russian people. So it was huge for Russia to get access to Volga, the main river in Russia. And this is 10 years later. He is considered and lauded to be, a great ruler, and then he becomes so very, very cruel.
After being so nice with the flailing and the dog eating.
Well, you have to think under his rule, there was almost 4 decades of war. The Tartars constantly trying to invade, and there was the Russo-Turkish War. There was Livonia, which failed miserably. There was
Stankonia, which was
bombs over Baghdad.
Hey,
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
It would take centuries for that dream to realize.
Tartar sauce from the Tartar Empire?
Well,
tartar is the residue, if I may, from the inside of casks of wine.
I don't know.
It's a powdery white residue.
If you know what tartar sauce is,
well, I'm not saying
us at
Richard Crennan
Fritz
tartar sauce.
I'm not saying tartar. I'm saying Tatar.
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 I'm saying tartar.
Tatar. Those are the descendants of the Mongols. So there were also Crimean raids, and this leads eventually to the raid of Moscow in the 1570s, which leads to the Great Fire of 1570, which was caused by the Tatars, and as many as 10,000 to, get this, 80,000 people died in this fire.
What?
That's a big swath right there between 10 and 80.
Jesus Christ.
They just skew the numbers just a little bit.
Census information was tough back then.
After 1570, under the Oprichniki and the Livonian War, Ivan grew very suspicious that the entire population of one of the most prestigious cities in Russia, Novgorod, was planning to defect or overthrow him. And so what did he do?
Burned it?
He burned it. He pillaged it. He destroyed it. He set upon the city himself, leading an army, and over 5 weeks, he massacred almost every single person in this.
Jeez. How big he got his hands dirty.
They say at the time it was between 10 to 20,000 people inhabiting this city. They say that 500 to 600 people died every single day.
Jesus
they were killed or drowned. This was not only the nobility, but peasants, smaller people, and big people. It was men, women, and children, some as younger than the age of 12. And there were devious plans or devious torture devices. One of the most infamous is a giant frying pan that was used to literally fry people to death, or filled with oil and boil people to death. People were skinned. People were tied to the blades of sleighs and driven into frozen lakes. That is, again, one of the most bone-chilling stories, is that he forced an entire family, including the children, to march themselves into a frozen lake to be drowned.
Man, human beings suck.
Yeah, they do.
Ivan the Terrible perhaps earned the sobriquet by killing his own son, Ivan.
Wow, that's a step up.
This is perhaps one of the most tragic stories surrounding him. So Ivan, who was to be heir, Ivan V, his wife, was pregnant. Ivan the Terrible, Ivan Vasilievich, knew this, and yet because of his piety and his depravity at the same time, he thought that she had been dressed a little bit too immodestly. Mm-hmm. So he proceeded to beat her ruthlessly, and that same night she miscarried.
Oh, no.
Ivan V confronted his father in a rage, and in response, Ivan the Terrible then beat his son around the head with his famed walking staff, which was a pointed spear, struck his son in the head, and basically beat him to death. Ivan, seeing that he had killed his own child, clasped him in his arms and said, I'm paraphrasing here, said that I am such a wretch that I have killed my own son. And this murder haunted him for the rest of his life.
You hope.
Until he died at the age of 54. Playing chess with his friend Bogdan.
What the hell?
Wednesdays with Bogdan.
He died doing what he loved to do most, manipulating pieces that are inferior to him.
But do you really want to become such a piece of shit like that, Fritz? Come on, if you're going to invade, of all places, North Carolina, think about all they have to offer.
Got him! Take that, North Carolina.
Well, it's all right.
Methinks you misunderstand my lot. I only wish to increase my plot.
Wow.
I can't argue with a rhyme like that.
He's
right.
getting really
That's
inconsistent
quite a
with his
line.
character, though. I'm kind of creeped out.
Have you done any, super violent, nefarious things yet?
Have you thrown any animals off Fort Fritz?
Has
or
anything been consumed?
What have you done?
Do you have any giant frying pans we don't know about?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
Regular ass.
He has to think about it for a minute. And I don't like that. It seems like he's good at forgetting stuff. So
I will say this though: I've got some things you guys have not seen before, and I would like to show what this castle has to offer. Because
castle now,
I'm super
Is
excited.
this Castle Fritz?
Oh, it's so cool.
He's talking about having a whole realm.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it goes with the old theme.
Is this like a mother-in-law cottage? Because it's rather large. I mean, we haven't been quite.
For there are passages and ways in this castle beyond imagination. Come, let us venture inside to this old institution.
That's an off-line, but we'll give it to
All
you.
right.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
take
you.
that. We'll take
It's a
that.
little
Yeah.
off,
Forced.
but okay.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna go
Fuck
in.
you, Cass.
I guess we're gonna go in and check out some more of the hidden stuff that King Fritzy over here has to show us. So we're gonna be right back. You're listening to Castle Fritz.
I gotta stop binging on History Channel.
Welcome back to segment 2 of me, King Fritz, showing Fritzylvania to these plebes, Nick Spry,
Hello.
Angela,
Hello,
Kaz,
Hello.
and Peasant Mandaddy.
Rude.
peasant.
Rude.
You're like a serf.
Upon these lands so far you gaze, the lands of Fritzylvania haze. Upon these murky depths and foul run, of course, fauna, flora, and fowl of winged birds, so brown in nature. Come, let us see what Fritzylvania nurtures.
Ooh, that was
I like
okay.
that. I like that. I like the name
wasn't bad.
Fritzylvania. I like that. What the hell is he doing? Jesus, what the hell? Oh my God! Is that a giant? What's that? Chicken?
What the hell
What the
is
hell
that?
is that?
Big chicken.
Big ass.
That was
What the hell was that?
There's a few big
big
chickens.
chicken.
That was a bird?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big
A whole
ass
bunch of
chicken.
Those are
That
chickens.
was
You mentioned the
fowl.
fowl. You said
Yeah.
the fowl. That was one of the
Twice.
fowls.
Twice fowl.
I
Thank
know,
you.
but I specifically mentioned that species of bird was eradicated.
No, you didn't. You
No,
said,
son
you
of a
said look at
didn't.
all the fowl, and then you got a fowl in your face.
No,
So-
I call foul.
Inner machinations of the
Oh.
kingdom. No, I made sure that bird was extinct from this kingdom. Jesus Christ!
You did a horrible job of it, evidently.
Did it cut me at all?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
You could have got a little bit of chicken
Oh,
scratch.
It doesn't look good.
Your robes are a little tattered in the back there.
Jesus Christ! Wings of death.
How long have you been reigning over this kingdom, Fritz?
And who did you
Years.
ask to extinct a bird?
Greaves. I should have known better.
Should have set a cat to the task of extincting a bird. Those do well.
Often
Yes.
in a kingdom, there is a decree. If you want something killed, a cat, said he.
You have the word. You had kitty
Guys-
right
guys
there.
freaking
Right.
me out.
Kitty.
Rhyme.
Where's
Like,
Schmutzy?
ask a kitty.
Where is Schmutzy? Is she doing this for you? Because evidently, normally she'd take these things out, but
I'm pretty sure that Schmutzy bows to no man.
this is true.
Yeah, she
There you
doesn't
go.
take a knee
Yes.
for nobody.
Anyway, this
very
is a hunting.
respectful.
This is a hunting ground.
Those were
Wait,
really
I know.
big,
Huge.
plump ass chickens. What were those? Why would you want those eradicated? Those were amazing.
I don't eat meat, and apparently they have succulent meat, the taste of which the skin is like a paper mache of gravy, salt, fat, and decay.
Oh, that sounds delicious until you got to the decay part.
I mean,
Take
a little
that just-
decay is
like a
kind of
little-
like cooking it.
Very conflicted
It's
about
like
that.
it's like fermented chicken skin.
I've never heard like meat likened to paper mache before. That's kind
Little pasty, little pasty.
Like a,
It's not going to go down too smooth.
yeah.
I don't really like this whole idea of the chicken skin thing, though. What are you doing with that?
Hark, Angela, you speak the sentence. Now I must hear what you have to mention.
No, this is really disturbing me, guys, that he's mentioning a chicken skin.
Why is chicken skin disturbing, especially just someone like you?
I hear it's great. I don't eat meat.
It's delicious.
Again.
Really
It's
good.
delicious.
Well, have you guys ever heard of the Mad Queen of Madagascar?
No. No.
Never.
I mean, I heard it once, and it was like 5 seconds ago.
Born in 1778, Rena Valona the First, also known as Ramavo, was born to fairly common parents. Somehow, her father overheard an assassination plot against the nation's king. Her father promptly made the king aware of the plan, who then foiled the plot.
As a good citizen does.
Correct. In return, the king, Adrianum Ponmimera, rewarded Ramana. That's a really long word. They did not have last names. They did not have last names. It is a very, very long names, Adrianum Ponmimera.
I just love that anything on Fort Fritz. There's this pause before we say anyone's name.
Before we say anyone's
it's always
name.
Like, and then
we're going to offend your culture.
But it's like our best.
Hashtag I'm sorry.
Right.
There you
It's
go.
our best foot forward. We're never just like, man. It's like, okay, hang on. Accent.
Adrianum Ponmimera rewarded Ramavos, that was her name, family by betrothing her to his crown prince son and heir to his throne.
Ooh.
Radama. Ramavo, so that is the girl. So there's Radama, her husband, and Ramavo, which is the girl, was not the preferred wife of Radama and did not bear him any children.
Oh.
That's all her fault.
You know, because that's all women are, right? A uterus, you know?
thank you.
Upon Adrianum Ponmimirana's death in 1810, I apologize to that king. I apologize.
It's all right.
Adrianum Ponmimirana's death.
She's been dead for 200 years. Don't be sorry.
That is a king, so it's not a she.
Him.
That
Did
is
you
him.
assume that king's gender?
I did assume that king's dead.
Yeah.
It's the A and O. It's like Latin. It's inverse from the Latin. Right?
Adrianum Ponmimirana's death. Oh, that was it. That was
That's
it.
nice.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got
nailed
it. So he died in 1810. So his son, Radama, ascended to the throne, accompanied by Ramavo. Adhering to the standard customs of the position, King Radama proceeded to methodically eliminate his opponents and potential dissenters. Unfortunately, this meant several of the eliminated included members of Ramavo's family.
That's what they do.
Like out of spite.
Out of sport.
And the fact that they weren't able to have kids, this kind of added to their troubled marriage.
Oh.
Kind of awkward.
It's a lot to put onto a relationship.
It's kind of a bad issue.
Especially
to
family
have.
reunions when they're not there.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, big parties where you really don't have that many invitations to send out.
Everyone forgot my birthday.
Oh, wait, they're all dead.
You know, my brother always made these get-togethers a little more lively until you fucking killed him, dude.
They're all dead now. So Ramavo ended up spending most of her time with other court ladies and socializing and drinking rum with David Griffiths and his fellow missionaries.
Oh.
Which set up a solid bond with her and the Griffiths that would help her out later. So Radama, who is the current king, her husband, died in 1828. So they married in 1810 and he died in 1828. Leaving no heir because they had no kids.
So this entire state was like in a gambit mood, right? It was
Correct. So by law, the next in line was Rakatobi, which is the son of Radama's oldest sister, was
His
the
nephew.
next in line.
Like, everyone's kind of throwing their dice in.
Exactly. However, Ramavo, who is the girl, had been plotting for years to get the crown after her husband's death, and she was going to take it.
Yes.
Ooh.
All of her socializing and connections did not go to waste. So while they were married, they had a troubling marriage, she ended up connecting and networking with other people. A high-ranking military officer named Andrea Mamba collaborated with other powerful officers to support Ramavo's claim to the throne. They hid Ramavo and one of her friends in a safe location, then secured the support of several influential power brokers, including judges and the keepers of the Sampi, which is the royal idols. The officers then rallied the army behind Ramavo, and on August 11th in 1828, she declared herself the successor to Radama.
Just like that.
Like right
Just
away.
drop the gauntlet.
Yeah.
On the
Boom.
pretense of that he himself had decreed it.
You said the Sampi, what was that again? Like idols?
Yeah, they're idols.
This kind of like spiritual invocation.
Correct.
Like we have ancestors behind us.
But they also had the army.
The current one.
Which the military, and the military is essentially the key to any like takeover of any coup. Like whoever controls the military controls.
She basically
the country.
spent
Again,
that whole time
terrified.
married to him kind of sweet-talking everybody to really like her.
Right,
so when he died, everyone was like, well, she obviously needs to take over because they didn't have any heirs.
They're like, oh, Romavo, you say you're the queen? You in whose army? Oh, that one? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shit.
That's a nice army. That's a nice army.
Angela, you even mentioned, based also on the pretext that the king authorized this, right? Didn't you just say in that last sentence, like it was understood?
Was staged as if the king had decreed that she would be, which it really should have been his nephew.
That's fucked up.
She like propped up the body and was like,
Yep.
she could be queen now.
Weekend at Bernie's it?
Romavo took the throne name Ranavalona, which means folded or kept aside.
Folded.
Then followed royal custom by systematically capturing and putting to death her political rivals, including Rakatobi, which was the nephew of the king, and his family and other members of Radama's family, just as he had done to her whole family. Because remember, when she married him, he killed her entire family.
The population of this country's got to be like 50 people now.
By now.
Right.
She was harboring all of this ill will and spite and revenge.
Yes. So her coronation ceremony took place on June 12th in 1829, and Ranavalona became the first female sovereign of the Kingdom of Imerna since its founding in 1540.
Jesus. 300 years later, pretty much?
Correct. This was her speech, or an excerpt from her speech at her coronation. Never say, she is only a feeble and ignorant woman. How can she rule such a vast empire? I will rule here, to the good fortune of my people and the glory of my name. I will worship no gods but those of my ancestors. The ocean shall be the boundary of my realm, and I will not cede the thickness of one hair of my realm.
I've kind of heard that paraphrase before, I think.
Yep.
Like,
she became the ruler and was like, listen, bitches, we're doing my shit.
how old was she when she was married in again?
So she was born in 1778 and was ruled in on 1828 or 1829.
So she was in her 30s, probably, late 20s.
Math. We don't do it well here.
Understood there would be
but
no
it's
math.
there.
Fort math.
So early on in her reign, Ranavalona made it clear that her country's culture and laws would remain untouched. The proclamation did not bode well for the increasing numbers of Christian missionaries that had been visiting the island for several decades. Ranavalona I warned against outsiders' influence on her subjects. She officially banned Christianity from the island in 1835.
Goddamn right.
And her paranoia extended to all foreign invasions, specifically to the British and the French. Many foreign Christians fled, leaving their converts to face fines, imprisonment, torture, and execution. At one point, Ranavalona ordered that 15 Christian leaders dangle by ropes over a rocky ravine.
Jesus.
Their
Why?
ropes were then cut, sending them to meet their maker. A few thousand people were thought to have been persecuted for religious reasons under Ranavalola's rule. She didn't even stop there. One of the most popular tactics by which Ranavalona maintained order within her realm was through traditional practice of trial by the ordeal by Tangina.
Tangina?
Which is...
Sounds delicious.
So, trial by ordeal was the ancient judicial practice by which the guilt or innocence of the accused was determined by subjecting them to a painful or at least an unpleasant, usually dangerous experience.
Ooh, like the witch trials.
Or fear
Correct.
factor.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, she's a witch. If you're a witch, then we'll try and drown you. And if you drown,
Exactly.
you're not a witch. But if you float, you're a witch.
Exactly.
So you're dying either way.
Right.
Yeah. It's the punishments.
The test was one of life or death, and the proof of innocence was survival.
Okay, so this is kind of opposite of the witch trials, because if you died, number one, you're innocent. Number two, we don't have to worry about you. You're dead.
No one's going to file any complaints.
Yeah. So this is if you're dead, we told you so. If you live, we have to then put up with you, right?
So a poison
Oh,
was
man.
extracted from the nut of the native Tangina shrub and ingested, with the outcome determining innocence or guilt. If nobles or freemen were compelled to undergo the ordeal, The poison was typically administered to the accused only after dog and rooster stand-ins had already died from the poison's effects.
So they would show how efficacious it was by...
Or watering it down,
Yeah.
right? Like the nobleman got to put it through a dog or a chicken first, and then everyone else was like, no, you got to take that shit straight.
Well, I think it was pretty much like giving it to the chicken and
to
then giving it to the
show
dog.
that it was poisonous,
Yeah.
yes.
A little tester.
While among members of the slave class, the ordeal required them to ingest the poison themselves. The accused would be fed the poison along with 3 pieces of chicken skin.
Tasty.
If
like that.
all 3 pieces of skin were vomited up, then innocence was declared. But death or failure to regurgitate all 3 pieces of skin indicated guilt.
And you gotta think, did they have a meeting and to figure out, okay, 2 chicken skin? No, it should be 3 chicken skin.
Should be
Because 4
3.
would
It's
be
probably
ridiculous.
based on some fucking old weird fucking whatever ritual.
Right?
Yeah.
3 pieces of chicken skin.
Because,
Three
whatever,
pieces of chicken
the
skin.
ancient so-and-so came down from the mountain with 3 chickens, and that's how many...
I mean, it
chicken
also
skins
depends
you
on
use.
how it was prepared. If it's fried up and
Raw
like
dog.
crackling or whatever, that shit is delicious. Nobody's gonna want to cough that back up.
Raw.
Black motorcycle driving Willie came to town one day and he told me this.
If eating chicken skin is guilty, then I don't want to be innocent.
Can I get a hallelujah?
Chicken skin is really delicious.
It really is.
So this Tangent ordeal was believed to represent a sort of celestial justice in which the public placed their unquestioning faith, even to the point of accepting a verdict of guilt in a case of innocence as a just but unknowable divine mystery. Residents of Madagascar could accuse one another of various crimes, including theft. In Christianity, especially witchcraft, for which the ordeal of Tangent was routinely obligatory. On average, an estimated 20 to 50% of those who underwent the ordeal died.
Oh my God.
That seems low. I would think that everybody would like.
Oh,
just be
yeah, at least in the high 70s at least.
Right.
Well, you puke it up. That's the whole thing. So people are probably I got to get the chicken skin down, and then the poison, and then
And then drink a lot of water.
get the shit out of me right now.
In the 1820s, the Tangent ordeal caused about 1,000 deaths annually.
Wow.
Jesus.
This average rose to around 3,000 annual deaths between 1828, which was about when she became in rule, and 1861. In 1838, it was estimated that as many as 100,000 people in Imerina died as a result of the Tangent ordeal.
Just to fucking torture her own people.
Exactly, constituting roughly 20% of the population.
Holy cow.
So in a really weird, fucked up point of view, you're actually making money on this gamble because you have 20% less of the population. So that's food costs is going down, imports.
You're just clearing overhead.
Yeah.
Just
Right,
clearing overhead.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, that's one way to look
Fritz.
at ruling a country, I guess.
Fritz at fortfritz.com. I'm sorry. I'll take that one.
And although outlawed in 1863, the ordeal continued to be practiced secretly in Imerina and openly in other parts of the island. So discipline, obviously, under Ranavalona was brutal. And Ranavalona was known for the following punishments as well. Hanging. The guilty would face hanging for days over steep cliffs, their relatives forced to watch as the rope became frayed until it unraveled, sending the victim to a plunging death.
Like dropping some people on some rocks.
Yep.
She was into that. She was into that.
Also, boiling, burning, and burying alive.
Oh, that's the worst. I think suffocation like that.
Untold thousands of suspected criminals face these medieval methods, witnessed by friends and relatives as a warning from the Queen. Beheadings. In one well-documented instance, the Queen ordered the decapitated heads of captured French soldiers to be impaled on stakes
Pikes.
along the beaches of the island to serve as yet another warning to the French who might be planning an invasion.
Like Vlad the Impaler.
A classic move, though.
No,
but
yeah.
sometimes do other rulers go, oh, you did the heads on the pike thing. We all do the heads on the pike thing.
Heads on the
Come
spike.
on, get some original there.
Sacre
blah.
bleu, they did the heads on the pikes on the beach.
Or it could be like when people tie tires to a dock so that your boat bumps up against it so you don't ruin your boat.
But heads.
But heads.
Yes.
But
Butt
heads.
heads.
Yeah.
Also, brutal forced labor. Often, on a whim, the queen would unexpectedly order unrealistic construction projects using thousands of unlucky natives or captured prisoners.
Oh, Jesus.
On August 16th, 1861, Rana Valona died in her sleep. 12,000 zebu, which are like cattle,
Oh, yeah.
were slaughtered and their meat distributed to the people in her honor.
All right, that's
At least that. At least
And
that.
the official mourning period lasted 9 months.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Well, they had to eat all that zebu.
During her funeral, however, a spark accidentally ignited a nearby barrel of gunpowder to be used during the ceremony,
Shit.
causing an explosion. The fire killed a number of bystanders and destroyed 3 historic royal residences.
She actually
It
destroyed...
killed people.
She went out with a bang.
And
yeah,
she also...
she literally went out with a bang.
That's awesome.
And during her 33-year reign, experts have estimated that between 50 to 75% of Madagascar's population met untimely deaths due to war, disease, or her barbaric and ruthless system of justice.
That is ridiculous.
50 to 75%.
impressive.
That's like only me and Mandaddy survive
Yeah.
tonight.
yeah.
Tonight alone.
And I've always assumed that, by the way.
Well, probably.
With at least 2.5 million deaths attributed to Rana Valona I.
Holy
she has earned
shit.
the title of the world's most murderous woman ever.
That is crazy.
Holy shit.
That's not.
Well,
that's a heck
So
of a
chicken
title.
skin.
Yeah, chicken... I mean...
still makes me hunger some nice chicken
You gotta
skin.
fry it first, though. No poison.
Did they have
no
to eat the
raw.
entire chicken skin, or is it a piece? Maybe
3 pieces.
Maybe, no, but maybe it was an entire chicken skin. When they said chicken skin, maybe they had to eat the entire
One
chicken
piece
skin.
is one full chicken. And
Yeah,
one
one full
hot
chicken.
dog.
Full
That's
after
not
one.
cool.
Yeah, what is the nutrition facts on that?
It's up there.
What's a serving of chicken skin?
Would they go like
Never enough.
diameter size, or would they go like by weight, or
Would be
caloric?
like top of chicken, bottom of chicken,
Right,
of
which
chicken,
piece?
left of
Is this
chicken.
a pre-frying weight or a post-frying weight?
So I did do chicken salad sandwich, and then take the skin off, and then fry it like it's like basically bacon,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then chop it up and put it back in the chicken salad.
Delicious.
Fucking excellent.
That
Damn
sounds
straight.
good.
Sounds good.
Or you can
So-
make it in like little like shisharons and use it to like as like bread.
Ooh,
Yeah, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I'm sorry.
just
missing
horrifying.
Yeah,
meat
it's really
shit.
bad
You
for your
like
heart, but so good.
terrible, terrifying meat stuff.
Terrifying meat stuff. Is that your new blog?
So of the chicken skin, I say, there are some more games to play. Follow me, for I will tell of one situation steeped in hell.
Oh, I don't like
Just
that.
kidding, it's an arcade
Steeped.
game.
Whoa,
all right,
okay.
cool.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
oh, totally down.
Wait, out here in the jungle?
Now follow me.
All right. Well, this sounds like a lot of fun. I guess now we're going to go play a arcade game or something with this guy that is really inconsistent with his character. I can't tell what he's doing at this point. So we're traipsing at this point. I'm pretty sure we're full on traipsing. So we're going to traipse and sally forth, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Fort Fritz.
Save the chickens.
Welcome back to segment 3 of my stately accord. I am King Fritz, joined as always by Mandaddy,
Getting really tired of this.
Nick Spry,
Hello.
Kaz,
Hello.
and Angela.
Verily.
Verily. I am walking now amongst the game center of my complex. This one most thoughtful indeed. You see, I have games from all over the region, up to, but not limited to, the Carolinas.
Carolinas have their own games that we don't know about? Or what are they, like, keeping certain games away from us?
Oh, forsooth.
Because all I see is like a few arcade games and a pinball table and a ping pong table and a ping pong, just a ping pong and a pinball and a ping pong.
It's like one of those sad, like, latchkey kind of like post-school things where like only your poor ass parents put you in there. Is that just me?
No, Nick Spry has a new game he's messing with. What is this, Nick Spry? How is this?
So this one is it looks like a whack-a-mole, but everything that pops up actually looks like a real historical figure.
No, those are actual people.
Oh,
those are actual people. He has actual people.
Oh, I don't
like sticking their heads out of a hole. This is kind of a little messed up at this point.
Let me know if any of the duct tape falls from their mouth region.
Are these Fritzylvanians? Or are these your
people?
These were enemy of the states of Fritzylvania, yes.
Who are enemies of the state?
Is that the mailman?
Wait, holy shit.
You guys, we should let these guys go.
Yeah,
Fritz, I'm going to dismantle your whack-a-mole game briefly for
all right.
maintenance.
I almost had the high score, though.
All right.
Dude.
He was good. He was
I know.
good.
I was just.
He was in the zone. He was in the zone.
Okay.
He couldn't miss.
Okay, just put the bucket of quarters off to the side, please.
Fine. All right, guys, get out of here. Skedaddle.
Oh.
Kaz, come
well,
on.
they're running. They're running.
Wow. You don't have to chain the arcade game up. Come on.
Well, you
Those
have
are people.
You have no staff here. This is like a big center of just fucking like.
Yes.
What's the plan here?
Acres and acres of land. My gallery sits atop. For me, King Fritz has science too much aloft. In fact, I need more people, gallant and true, to work this science complex for me and you.
I'm kind of impressed with the rhyming.
He
He calls on
increasingly
it. You think he's
impressed.
not going to get there, and he lands it. It's amazing.
Still doesn't make this youth center any less lame or game
Word.
center.
No.
Or
Okay,
like,
Lame?
Again, this
Lame
game is
center.
not working.
I'm
Please
pretty
move
sure
away.
this game of Moncalis play with people's like engagement rings. It's kind of disturbing.
This is what?
That's a toenail in there. That definitely.
oh my god, gross.
You guys, okay, this is fucking okay.
Also,
I'm
that
done.
game over there, it was an idea.
These
I
are not
had.
games. These are atrocities.
No, that one.
Fritz,
Okay.
you have gone insane.
No,
Too
you
far.
have gone insane too far.
I think it's the crown, guys. I mean,
It's heavy.
yeah,
Heavy is the head.
Who
is
made
the
that?
head, yeah, me.
You made that
Out of what?
Oh, I found a half of it, and then I just kind of like hodgepodged it, Mod podged it.
Dude, this is reeking of King Leopold. You guys know about King Leopold, right? This is like spoiler, post-trail, pre-trail alert. This is one of the most fucked up people in history. Like, fuck this guy.
Wow. Okay.
And we've talked about a lot of fucked up people.
This dude is a fuck. All
a
right?
singular fuck.
To speak ill of the dead, this guy is a fuckhead.
I like it.
King Leopold II, surviving son of Leopold I and Louis of Orléans. Succeeded his father to the Belgian throne in 1865 and reigned for 44 years, longest of any Belgian monarch. He died without any surviving male heirs and was succeeded by his nephew, Albert I.
Okay.
So that's like the clean stuff that happened to this fuck. So Leopold was the monarch of Belgium, and at the time he instituted a number of, and this is something that we've noted in several of these stories, some helpful local policies with Renovola.
I'm a lemma ding dong.
She had kind of like, it was a little isolationist, but she had an idea of, conserving her local tradition and cultures. Ivan was apparently some type of like successful ruler and was able to bring these Russian principalities to heel.
Ish.
Similar to Leopold II. He had a number of things that we would consider to be socially progressive laws passed, right? Like he passed child labor laws, so no children were allowed to work in factories.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
They're only allowed to work 18 hours a day.
Right. So there's like your conservative cuck Belgian people will like look back on this and sort of look at this guy as a successful leader for Belgium, but the truth was anything but. Leopold II was convinced that the future wealth of his nation and of European nations lied in the unexplored territories of Africa and South America and Southeast Asia. So basically, he was an originator of the colonialist attitude of basically exploiting these underdeveloped areas for their natural resources. And as such, he developed what he called the...
So this guy was a slave trader and saw an untapped natural resource into just going into
in the way
country.
that like most white people from that time with power were slave traders. He kind of he turned the slave trade on its head, essentially, in that he occupied a certain area in Africa and declared it his own science and games center, his own area to develop kind of the Congolese nation, as he put it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, no, it sounds really altruistic, right? The guy was ultimately responsible for roughly, scientists say, between 10 and 15 million deaths in the Congo. They say at least half of those were likely due to disease brought from European people to native Africans, and a number of diseases that came from that: sleeping sickness, amoebic dysentery, smallpox, things like that. So a large swath of the native population of the Congo was essentially exterminated by this man and his zeal to expand his influence in Africa.
Well, that would be like unintentional consequences, right? Like if he had...
Well, so I guess the disease...
Oopsie deaths?
The disease you can call an oopsie death if you want to be that crass, but I think that, like I said, 50% of 10 to 15 million. So let's call it 12.5, just to give you a nice round one.
Right.
So 6.25 million people died of what?
Yeah,
something else. Right. Apparently, the rubber trade kicked off at this point. Basically, the use for the sap from the rubber tree took off in industrialized nations, and the need for that sap exploded. So Leopold's solution to this was to essentially force the native Congolese people to extract the sap from these trees through forced labor. And to do this, he created the Force Publique, which was his own personal, essentially, security force that would go from town to town and enlist the aid of the village to extract the rubber from trees around the area. If they refused, the entire village was exterminated. And if they agreed, they were subject to extremely ludicrous yield expectations, right? So they were expected to produce way more than they were able to based on, what they had, the knowledge they had for getting the sap out of these trees.
So this is his own, like, secret police force?
Correct, yeah.
Kind of like Ivan the Terrible's, what was that called?
The Oprichniki.
Yeah.
Disturbingly enough, some of these people were Europeans from Belgium, military officers. The majority were, in fact, recruited locally from the villages and were forced to essentially inform on and enforce these rules on their neighbors and their people.
Snitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the more, I guess, horrifying atrocities that went on during this was the collection of hands, and it was the punishment for anything, for looking at someone sideways, for not producing enough rubber, for getting up late, was a hand. It got to the point where the Force Publique officers were reportedly paid by the basket of hands that they collected.
You try and go to the store and use that and buy, like, all right, I got some peanut butter,
I got a baby hand, I got like two women's hands, and like a big ass dude's hand.
The clerk is like, that's $6.25. You put a basket of hands, and they're like,
ooh, that one's got clean nails.
Come on.
You have to figure out the exchange rate. Yeah. It's like, okay, is it 3 baby hands for lady hand? I can't remember.
This was a big baby's hand, though,
it's a big baby hand.
You put a basket of hands up, they go, your money's not good here, man.
Your hands aren't good here.
Get
out of here.
I want my change.
Just take it. Just take the toilet paper. Just leave.
Often the hands were collected from corpses because the Force Publique officers would often find that death was the correct punishment for whatever the offense was. Christ. And they were made to account for each bullet that they spent with a pair of hands to show for the kill that they made with that. So they were...
It's just good accounting. It's just good accounting.
So one of the more disturbing things that I read was a quote from a Catholic priest who spoke with a man named Swambe,
good guy,
who was under the purview of a man named Leon Fievez, who sounds Spanishy, but probably European, probably not African. And this man controlled a certain point of land around a certain river. But Swambe had to say about this man. All blacks saw this man as the devil of the equator. From all of the bodies killed in the field, you had to cut off the hands. He wanted to see the number of hands cut off by each soldier who had to bring them in baskets. A village which refused to provide rubber would be completely swept clean. As a young man, I saw Fieve's soldier, Molili, then guarding the village of Boyeka, take a net, put 10 arrested natives in it, attach big stones to the net, and make it tumble into the river. Rubber is what causes these torments. That's why we no longer want to hear its name spoken. Soldiers made young men kill or rape their own mothers and sisters.
Damn.
Wow.
I absolutely 100% have heard about this. This is in the midst of a war that's about to happen, right?
This is during what they're calling the Red Rubber Trade.
Yes, and it's going to be a lot worse than this.
So, right, I mean, this is the sort of initial colonialization of Africa, and this is where people were like, well, then France jumped in, well, fuck, like, we're not going to let Belgium have all the fun, and they,
it's like they're having a blast down there with all those fucking hands.
It expanded from there. So there was basically, like I said, all told, the quote-unquote Congo Free State, as King Leopold II dubbed it, was responsible for roughly, scientists say, between 10 and 15 million deaths.
Jesus.
Which, again, like, reading this is mind-bogglingly just, like, chilling. This dude, fuck him and whoever was associated with him. In addition to the reports that were coming out from people who were visiting and people who had witnessed essentially the hell that was the Congolese Free State, in the early 20th century, the Belgian government essentially stepped in and seized this as they recognized that this was getting out of hand and was going to look bad in the press. So the government seized this land from King Leopold and put it under the Belgian Civil Conference. And that eventually led to the Congo's essentially emancipation and their real quote-unquote free state. So yeah, don't keep on going with the science center and the like trying to like recruit local native people, because you're throwing your lot in with an extremely bad fuckhead from history named King Leopold II of Belgium.
That fuckhead.
So you think me engaging in science and technology in Fritzylvania is going to be bad?
You just had people chained up to get whacked in the head with a mallet.
Okay, I was
that
hoping
seems kind of bad.
It's a slippery slope, right?
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, it is. Okay. All right.
Are you done finally?
Whoa.
Are you done with this?
Wow, look
Is
at
he done?
that. He's just taking off the crown.
He's done?
Oh, he's about to
he
chuck the skull.
grabbed his
He's going to
skull?
chuck his best friend's
Yep.
skull. He's just chucking it. Look at that.
Now that I look into the eyes of Morty, I know that this is bad. I'm going to throw the skull into the fucking fire. This is done. Also, the crown that I pried from his head.
Wait, you
got it off his head?
His
God,
head? I think
wait a minute. You
made
said
that.
you made that. You
Whoa,
lying son of a
whoa.
It's gone now. Fuck it.
That's
Whatever. Just let him throw it away.
Shit, right?
bitch. Yeah, that's some bullshit.
Throw the crown in. I'm going to throw the skull in too.
Oh, wow.
Wait,
Okay.
That was a good throw. You got some
That's pretty good.
I would rather
kind of
all of
impressed.
these just die forever, 1,000 told in the volcano of the pit of Fritzylvania.
He threw it into like that midway basketball thing that he had, and I mean, you can see he got 15.
So it just rolled
points
right
for
back
that.
to him, and
Yeah.
now he's got it again. He's
Yeah,
playing
it's
with it
true.
still. That's messed up.
No,
Throw
don't
it into the
again.
woods. You have to throw it into the woods if it's going to
do
be
something.
like.
I
You got to
see
get
you
rid
got
of
it
it
again, and you got it again.
Get rid of it.
Come on, let me have one more.
One more.
Okay,
He's got
one
to
more.
make it.
make
7,
it?
6, 5.
Swish!
No, one more
no,
would be a brick.
3, 2.
I didn't
There's
make
the
that one.
buzzer.
Ah,
There's the
goddamn
buzzer. No.
Come on.
That's it.
I
15
got
points.
75 more cents. Hold on.
This is going to
All
take
right.
a while.
this is,
I only have 50.
Throw the fucking thing in the woods. We're done.
All right,
We're
okay,
not
okay,
getting rid
all right,
of
it's
the
done.
crown.
It's done. All right, all right, there you go.
There you go.
It's done. Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Christ.
Oh my
You know, I'm
Oh,
trying to
it's
have
gone.
fun. You know.
Yeah, but at the cost of other people's lives.
Well, so not other people, but I bagged a couple of those chickens.
Hell
Ooh,
yeah,
did
did.
you?
You guys want to?
They look succulent.
big
Are you
ass bag.
serious?
So, yeah, okay.
Well, like I just put them in a bag, and then if they want to be
I gotta
eaten
be honest with
later,
you.
then
If they want to be
we'll
eaten
ask
later?
them if they want to be eaten. I'm not going to just
Maybe they're
kill a
ambitious.
chicken.
You know, maybe that's their end game.
Some people remember the German dude.
Yeah, he wanted people to eat him. He asked.
You know what's weird? Now that I don't have the crown on me, I don't want to like really take over the Carolinas anymore. I think that would be a bad idea anyway, because
think-
there's 5 of us and millions of people
What was on that crown? Was it some sort of mental?
I'm more
blockage
interested
or
in
something?
how he was able to subjugate the people that he did. Like that was
That's
a
true.
pretty full whack-a-mole game, and there was a couple. What did he even do? There's
I
only
think it
one of
actually
them.
said whack-a-dude.
I'm really impressed by this.
It was a wackadoodle. But I kind of feel bad now. Is that...
You should.
You really should. You should. That's
you
a
should
good thing.
allow
I feel better
everyone their
about
own
you.
sovereignty.
I mean,
you feel
a
bad.
man's got to have a dream, but, maybe want to scale it back just
Your
a little
dream
bit.
shouldn't involve the subjugation of people.
Yeah, and the taking over of other lands.
Now in my heavy thought, I think about the things I want to do with the king...
He can't even rhyme it anymore. All right, let's
the
go.
crown. The crown gave him rhyming
Turkey.
abilities.
No,
Lost it.
turkey meat.
Turkey doesn't rhyme.
And cranberry sauce.
No.
Sometimes
That sounds good, though.
That's delicious.
I think...
Let's get back. I got the chickens.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the fort, and we'll just hang out.
Let's take the chickens to the chicken joint.
Yeah.
Let them do what they do best.
Bring BYOC.
BYOC.
Sabrina's working tonight, too, so that's perfect.
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, at least she's good at what she does.
Oh, they're going for him again. They're going for him. Look out.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
The chickens are attacking, rightfully so. Oh, he
They
deserves
know.
this.
They know.
He deserved this.
They
All right, we're
know.
gonna get out of here. And, I think they killed Fritz.
He's down.
I'm pretty sure the chickens have killed Fritz.
They
So,
at least pecked him unconscious.
I think by rules of combat we have to
Yep.
eat Fritz now.
It's foul play.
You've been waiting to say that all night. I know it. You've had that in the holster, just waiting to fucking go. Well, I believe we've done all we can here. We've ended the kingdom of Fritzylvania. Fritz seems to be at least unconscious by a vicious chicken attack. And if he is dead, I promise you we will eat him. No lie. We're not going to do that. One kill, one meal.
Well, let's at least make sure that he's not dead. Here,
well, he's
come
got
on.
a friend who's checking
I'm
him
gonna
out
put
there.
a little mirror under his nose and make sure. Wait.
It's lifted his arm up. Look at this. This guy
there he
is
goes,
a trooper.
there he goes. Oh, shoot the chicken!
Jesus Christ! Oh my God, there's a lot
They
more
are
chickens!
vicious. They really hate his ass.
They are totally after him.
They are dragging him back into
Oh
the
my
bush.
God.
No, let the chickens take him.
They're
The
taking
chickens
him
earned
no.
it.
They're
No, the
taking
chickens
him
earned
into
it.
the coop. Oh my
They
God!
have a coop.
They have a coop. They got
There's
him.
been a coup in the coop.
It's a coup d'etat.
Evidently, the chickens have won. The violent and cruel rule of King Fritz over Fritzylvania has now ended, and I, for one, accept the rule of our new chicken masters. I bow to the chickens, as we all do. We all bow to the chickens now.
I mean,
I guess.
I heard they
Bow
have
to
a
the
good.
goddamn chickens!
yeah, there's a lot
What
of
are the
them.
fucking size of these things?
Yeah.
They drug Fritz into their fucking coop. Bow to the goddamn chickens!
You're gonna be a dick about
We like
it.
to thank the chickens.
Kill me! Anyone can hear me? Kill me!
We'd like to thank the chickens for their kindness.
Can you
And
tell
we
the
hope-
chickens where they can listen to us?
Oh, the chickens, of course, can listen to us on iHeart Chicken, iChicken, You Chicken. You can check us out on Face Chicken.
What is going on?
We're just gonna wing it.
We have Angela Chicken over there. We got Kaz Chicken. We got Nick Chicken. I'm Man Chicken. You're listening to Fort Chicken now, and I think the rule of the chicken should be a good, long, and a fruitful rule.
It's round and metallic, circular. Fits on my head. What is this skull? A tiny baby skull? Or the crown upon my head rests with the weight of 2 chicken breasts and a biscuit. Yeah.